So, obviously, you've been at the D1 level as a player, D1 level as assistant coach, and at the NBA level as assistant coach, and a guy that helped in player development and that kind of thing. What is the biggest takeaways in the difference between the NBA level and the D1 level from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest difference for me in my family was the schedule. You just if you put the two pieces of paper with the schedule down beside each other, the 82 game schedule relative to, I think we played 38 games last year at Duke. It's, it's a lot different. I can remember multiple times in the NBA of, being on the road for like, 10 to 12 days at a time. And that those days add up quickly. That, and then in college, I think last year at Duke, our longest road trip was like 4 to 5 or 5 or 6 days probably. So
Yeah.
I think that's a huge difference just from the pure lifestyle. Um, and neither one is good or bad. I remember going through the process with John last year. Someone gave me a piece of advice about the differences between the NBA and college basketball. They're not good or bad; they're just different. you know, and I love the NBA. I loved working in the NBA, and I love working in college basketball too. But they are
Yeah.
different. Um,
Just apples and
I think
oranges, I
when
guess.
you get to the pure basketball part of it, yeah, exactly. It is apples to oranges. Like the schedule's different, but when you do get to the basketball part, you kind of realize it's just basketball. The guys at Duke, the guys here at Belmont, they're trying to just get better, just like the guys in the NBA are, right? So our jobs are kind of similar. It's just to kind of help and push them to become, the best versions of themselves because that's what they ultimately want, and we as coaches, that's what we want as well.
Right. How was it coaching a guy that obviously is substantially older, possibly than you? The NBA guys, obviously becoming a professional is a huge deal. Here you got a young guy that's coming in. How was that? And I'm sure that was where your relationship building that I've heard so much great things about to you, and Coach Bird was so well adapt to doing, probably impacted that as well. But how was that experience?
Yeah, I think you said it first. You said it best. Like the relationship building part is where you have to start. And for me as a young coach, a lot of my time was honestly out on the court with them. I realized quickly of why I wasn't in the NBA. A lot of my times was them just wearing me out on the court, right, as like a practice dummy. But you grow with that. Your relationship grows with the sweating that you're doing with the guys. It's like that classic term of sweat equity, right? So a lot of the times you're just building that relationship on the court with guys, which is where everyone feels the most comfortable, anyways, right? So I found it best as a young coach of when I was probably 23, 24, and some of the guys were a little older, was just to be out on the court with them, help them get better. And then next thing you know, you're talking about their game and talking about the game plan and stuff like that. So it all really just started with me being on the court with the guys and trying to help them get better. And that's what I fell in love with, to be honest with you. That's where still my favorite part of the game is helping guys get better, helping them reach where their full potential and get to them to where they want to go.